All right, buddy. Thank you for joining another edition of Benfica After 90. I got Ethan with me today. I'm going to throw the link in a short bit in the chat for anyone who wants to pop in. But we had one heck of a match that we just wrapped up, man. It was absolutely wild. So, how you been, Ethan? You been doing good, buddy?
Yeah, I've been doing well, thank you. Been very busy. Starting university, and obviously football carrying on as normal. But apart from that, it's been real good.
That's awesome, man. It was man. Let's just say, like a few moments ago, we're all cursing the team, probably every single Benfica, because it looked like we're about to drop points, and it's just what a mess. And last seconds, literally extra last seconds, that we got 7 minutes of extra time. And it was like 7 minutes and a few seconds. Granted, the Vizela guy was rolling on the ground for a minute of the extra time.
Yeah,
Um, so it did kind of, we had the extra time. There's a lot of time wasting in the game, but holy cow, did it. The rivals are going to be livid. Anytime you see
yeah,
um, us winning like with that many extra minutes plus a few seconds after the fact, they're gonna lose their mind. And a victory Porto style, because you see that all the time at Benfica Mocha. I love it, Boris. But wild, man. We come off the back of a very rough Champions League appearance. Heading into this game, how are you feeling, man? Like right before this game kicked off, were you feeling okay? How are you doing leading up to it?
yeah. It was kind of just kind of a mixed opinion sort of thing. Is that obviously I'm very confident in the squad we have and the way we've been performing this season. But as we knew, this team, I can't say the name of it. Let me have a go.
Vizela, go for it.
Vizela.
Yeah,
Vizela are very, 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 very good defensively, and we saw that today. Um, but I don't think they've conceded this a goal at home apart from today, right? I think that's a stat.
I
And
can find that out for sure. It's
yeah,
I
I
know
think
my understanding is they're undefeated at home for the last this season so far.
mm,
And yeah, keep going. I'll double check on the
yeah, it's like we knew we was going to be in a battle. These guys were like in the game very, very, very good defensively. Like all credit to them. That they knew what the game plan was sit deep, absorb all the pressure, hit us on the counter, try and get a sneaky goal in. But to be fair, like I thought it wasn't the best game we played all season, but we did well. It was just that final bit of quality at the end, and luckily, we got that in the literally dying seconds, Porto style. What is good because I think we've been struggling to sort of do that in recent times by having that little bit of grit and determination to score in the last couple of remaining seconds of the game, and we get the 3 points at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, and I'm just kind of going through the results. They have not lost a home game. They did concede against Boavista 1-1, but it was I got to give credit where credit's due. Basically,
Mm.
their fans for a mid-table, recently promoted side, not even call it mid-table, recently promoted side, set the standard of how these, not to be disrespectful, but these smaller clubs should act. Like the whole game, their fans were chanting, jumping, the atmosphere was buzzing. Typically, with games like this, because there's so many away Benfica fans, like you can hear our supporters. That's common, but to hear the home crowd supporting the way they were, jumping, going wild, going bananas. Um, it was good, man. It was good atmosphere. Terrible performance in a sense from us. And I will say that we'll get into it in a short bit. But man, that was a wild ride, and the ending has me jumping. But yeah, it's crazy. So let's kick it off with the starting 11. Let me get it up here on the screen real quickly for everyone, and I'll announce it out shortly. All right, so in net we had Odysseus in back, Verissimo, Otamendi, Vertonghen, Diego Gonzalez, Weigl, João Mario, Grimaldo, Rafa, Darwin, and Chuck up in the middle. That was your 11 for today. Off the bench, Ramos, Everton, Nem, Pizzi, and Tarat. So that was the team that we lined up with for today, and you'll see here pop up on the screen shortly. So there it is, man. That was our lineup. It was wild. I gotta laugh at the missus here, getting to an age where I gotta check how many symptoms I have a heart attack I'm having. The way Benfica was going on that one. Um, I wasn't shocked at all. What the lineup and who came out. Just a quick shout out to obviously Boris Nuno, HJ, Caesar, Cynthia, and everyone else in the chat right now. But any surprises in the lineup that you saw out of curiosity?
No, I think it was a solid lineup. I think it was definitely a lineup that we could have definitely beat the team, sort of thing. We didn't have any kind of stragglers in the starting 11. I think this was a solid starting 11.
Yeah, you would have. I gotta say, like, there's comments in the chat, and I think they're fully justified in the sense that you expect more. Like, Boris says, the most successful squad in the history of Portuguese football. You expect them to roll over teams, but there's just these days where teams are doing everything right. I will say, as I looked at this match and I was watching it, it felt to me personally that we actually looked better the first half than we did the second half, just from a not from a stat standpoint, but just from a watching standpoint. I don't know about you, Ethan. Did you feel like both halves were similar? Did you find one half was better than the other, or what was your take on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think we performed a lot better in the first half. I think for the first 10 minutes, we came at them and we played some real good football. Um, but yeah, second half, it seemed to me like we were kind of not running out of ideas, but lacking inspiration to kind of beat this very regimental defensive Vizela squad.
Vizela. Close
Vizela,
enough.
yeah. So yeah, so they were so good defensively, like so regimental, hard working. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they could absorb that pressure. And it wasn't good to watch from a Benfica point of view, but from a defensive point of view, you just have to give credit where it's due, and it was good. But they at the end of the day, we win 1-0. We broke their back line once, and we took control, and Rafa gets us the 3 points.
Yeah. No, I one thing. My take on this match is that we have, as everyone's making comments in the chat, an expensive squad. Not just expensive, but when you're talking about Jan Vertonghen and you're talking Everton has a lot of, even though he's a younger player, loads of experience. Otamendi, loads of experience. Weigl, loads of experience. Rafa, things of sort. This is a very experienced and well-established set of players that play for international sides. You got a manager in George Jesus, which is an experienced manager, loads of talent. Vizela's manager is a bit of a cult hero right now because he brought him up from like the third division to the second division to the first division. But this isn't a manager that's really in tune with the first division level at this high level. And same with some of the players. Some players, I recognize them from when they played at Belenij and other mid-table clubs, but you're not talking about megastars. And as the match went on, it felt, these guys obviously were playing defensive, trying to stop the play with the ref, trying to, if they can at any point get a foul, delay the stoppage as much as they can, go on the counter. That was their game plan. And you'd expect a more wise and experienced squad, more talented and richness type squad to figure out along the way how to break down this team. And it felt as the second half rolled on that it was the opposite. Vizela seemed to kind of figure out what we were trying to do, how we were trying to get into the passing lanes, how we were trying to get in wide. They found a way to stifle the midfield. I felt in the first half we had more control in the mid than we did in the second. There's periods in the second half that we were literally just passing back. Like we kind of get in and we couldn't figure it out. Like we'd see them, they're parking the bus. That was the game plan. I'm not bashing them because look at the squad difference, things of sort. I get their game plan. It's just as time went on, they seemed to be more entrenched with what their idea was and what they were trying to do, and they were figuring us out more than we were figuring them out more. And it was quite frustrating. It was tough. But it's these really trashy, shitty matches where you pull off a goal in the dying seconds, like out of your end, that do win you championships. When you play absolutely atrocious, but you still get the 3 points, even if it's dumb luck or whatever the story is, whether it's merited or not merited, you just got to do whatever you got to do to get 3 points and then figure your stuff together and go on and keep winning again, right? So I'm ecstatic in the sense that we got 3 points. It was an ugly match, but man,
100%.
it was wild. I do have to say one thing, and I'm gonna let's see if I can remember correctly. Because my wife said it, and it made me laugh my ass off. But in the first half, I think it was before the 30th, like 25th minute or 20th minute or so, there was a moment where Odie got the ball and he passed it to a Vizela player, created a one-on-one opportunity, and like the guy, like it's a miracle that we didn't go down 1-0. Like absolute miracle. Odie did one heck of a quick save to keep us in the game. And the missus said, here's what he says, the cause and solution to all of our problems right now, which was so
Yeah.
true in the moment. Like in the moment right there, I was like, yeah. He's like, we should be losing because of Odie,
Yeah, it's
but
true.
thank God we're not losing because of Odie. It was wild. It was wild. It was it was a bit of a stressful event, right? I'm just going through some of the comments here. Somehow find a better way to break down teams. First, yeah,
Yeah,
this is an issue that we see every season.
yeah, I
Nick is
think
on
so.
point. Yeah, it's you're gonna see clubs just park the bus, and you just gotta, you know, figure out know how to break them down.
Yeah,
Mel is
exactly.
out, yeah, Mel is out celebrating with the family, so you can hear him screaming all the way out in the UK from the East Coast,
Yeah,
California.
definitely. But no, it's like I think with today's performance, as I said earlier, it wasn't our best performance of the season. Obviously not. It wasn't pretty, but we dug in, we worked hard. We got those 3 points just through pure work and determination. So it's like I think someone said it's it was embarrassing to who was this Boris, embarrassing having to play 98 minutes to get a goal against
There you go, you got
Vizela.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I'm getting better. Um, and to some extent, I agree with that. But also, this was a good defensive side. They just put 11 men behind the ball, and they were good. They were good at it. And I wouldn't say embarrassing, but I can't think of another word. But
No, they were clinical.
yeah,
I gotta say, Vizela really played. They came in with a set tactic.
hmm
They played their style. When they countered good. Like I got like personally to me, if Vizela won this game, I'd be livid,
yeah,
but
same.
I would understand. That's
Mm,
that's the thing. Like I would sit there and go, okay, Benfica in the first half had 65% possession of the ball, 71% possession of the ball, but Vizela in the first half, this is nuts. They had 8 shots, we had 3. And
oof.
like it was like and they had 3 shots on target, we had 1. Second half of change, we had 11 shots, they had 7, but when they had shots, it was because they were breaking away on the counter. It was because
Yeah,
all of a sudden they just kind of broke through. It was one-on-one chances. That's where it was. They were strategically smart. Again, I'm going to give them credit. There's a reason why they're undefeated uh, in their home ground, and I know it's still like in the first half of the season, but they were well organized. They're running well. Um, and HA says it good, man. Some performances just don't have to be brilliant, man. You just got to get the win. You just got to get the win,
yeah,
and that's my mindset is that you get the win from these types of results, and then down the season, if we win the title, this is exactly how you win the title. And there's a
yeah,
comment from Cynthia here about Sporting. That's how Sporting won their title last year. That's how Porto won their title the previous year, man. It's just they just got these wins that you watch the match and you go, Porto didn't deserve to win, or they should have got the draw, but at the end of the day, they still got it, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree with more. And
Hmm.
I definitely think these types of 3 points can make or break a season. 100%. This can be the difference between winning the league or coming second because I think this year is going to be very, very tight,
Yeah.
incredibly tight.
A little bit of an offside comment. I won't read it out, but it did. Sibilinga, man, this guy Everton comes on. He is having. I actually felt bad for him in the Tasa game. Like it was just atrocious how he was playing. Um, and he comes on in the second half, and I don't feel like the team was an improvement. It was just I don't know, man. The guy is just not finding his rhythm, not finding his way. He's an experienced, talented player. Like he's a player that you kind of feel like he's gonna leave Benfica and go do something great elsewhere. I think he will
Yeah,
because I think there's talent, but he cannot. I don't know what it is. He doesn't connect with the team. He doesn't jive with the team. His decision making for Benfica is terrible. Decision making on Brazil and what he did when he played in the Brazilian league was amazing. But yeah, oh man, look at Olha este gajo aqui. Olha este gajo aqui. Yeah. By the way,
Yeah,
Darwin.
I feel real bad for Everton. It's like because he is a real good player on his day, real good player, and I think I agree with you, is where maybe he can succeed more elsewhere, maybe. And there's a lot of competition in this squad, and maybe that might be a little background effect of like the competition in the squad. It's making him feel a bit pressured. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that has a little bit of an effect on it, but yeah, it is it is sad to see. It is really sad to see.
Now I do have to touch on here because I talked about him in the chat. And now Nemaja, which a good buddy of mine, actually that's the exact name we just call him Nem, which is why Mrs. says Nem on that side. Um, I, that guy looked good. He looked good. He had some really nice flicks of the ball, some dangerous shots on target. Like every time I looked on the right side with him there, um, it was quite exciting to see the movement relative to the left side when we kind of saw it from Everton. Now there is a comment here from Ruben. You know, he's here for the season. I fully agree. We shouldn't give up on him. It's frustrating to see. It's tough. It's tough to see kind of him struggling. Like it's just one of these things where if another game we play another game, do you want him to start? I think we have other players that I'd rather see start. I think we got the Taça de Liga, Taça Portugal. We got substitutions. Like Everton's going to get minutes. I feel Everton's got to earn his spot back on the team.
Yeah,
Like I don't, I
100%.
don't think I think he's lost his starting 11, which he has for the last while, and he's kind of showing why he doesn't belong in the starting 11. Um, but yeah, that's
Yeah, maybe he's just hit a massive brick wall, a bit of bump in the road. You know what I mean? And he's just trying to find his feet again. It's like we might be saying this now, but by the end of I don't know the new year when he comes, he might be the player how he was a couple of months ago, sort of thing.
yeah. As soon
You
as
never
like
know.
the guy's a talent. If he can get going and get clicking, he
Mm.
will. He'll
Get a
he'll
bit of
he'll.
momentum. Get
Yeah,
a bit of momentum behind him. Maybe a couple of goals, couple of big impacts, and he might be flying again. You never know. Like when I mean by like get rid of him, I don't mean now, but at the end of the season, is because
yeah. If
it's
by the end of the season,
unfair.
if
Yeah,
it's still the
it's
same
yeah,
results at the end of the season, I agree with the. There's someone that said in the chat about a loan, like toss him out towards a loan. I saw that somewhere, but yeah, the idea of hopefully he gets better. He has to get better.
mm,
I do kind of feel bad for the guy, also myself. But also, Noon says this comment here, and it's I get it, right? Like, yeah, Jota barely saw any playing time last year. Everton kept seeing him playing time. He wasn't delivering, and Jota seems to be showing up right now on Celtic, right? So it's tough. It's shoulda, woulda, coulda kind of scenario. But the one thing for sure with Everton, it isn't a guy that we hope he has the talent. We just know he has the talent. He's not. It's just not connecting, right? So that's the one. To me, the shining light on Everton is that at some point or another, this guy will will break through. But yeah, let me go back
100%.
to this because I think this is Luigi's work and things of sort. They put this monetization thing in here, so I got to shout out to Enclosure. He's the first one ever that's done something like that. That's pretty cool.
What is it? Sorry.
Look at the boards. Look at that. It's I don't know. They can throw in um,
Is
yeah,
it the blue one?
there's donation. I don't know. I got to figure this out. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is
So
new.
yeah, it's new. It's all new. This is Luigi has been uh, fiddling around with our channel, doing some bells and whistles. He's also doing now a series on FIFA, which is pretty wild. So I will let you guys. You know what? I'll tweet at you guys if the donations work. They should work. I'm assuming they work, but it's pretty wild. It's pretty cool. So I got to figure out. I got to actually talk to Adrian, and we got our buddy Adrian as a Ramona. He knows how this stuff works. I got to figure out the bells and whistles of how this stuff is supposed to actually run proper. But you guys are the first at it, which is pretty wild. But yeah, no, right now, play like Brian, man. Like that. That is. I wish. I wish there was a moment though at Benfica for a while where a monstrous, unstoppable force, at least domestically, and they struck fear in Europe. And it just that's the hope of George Jesus that eventually he can bring the team back in, right?
Yeah.
And SEK is Swedish. I love the Swedish currency. Look at that. All the way up here in Canada. They're like our neighbors, but you got to go all the way around to the north to actually give them time spot. But it's a little bit of a trek if you try going the north route. I don't think anyone does that. But yeah, no, it's crazy. So let me bring up SofaScore here because one thing I wanted to take a peek at was some of the stats. So just give me 1 second here while I do that. and bring it up here for all you guys. There we go. Perfect. So it should be showing. I'll make it a little larger. And
Yeah,
the
so
biggest thing I find here, if I go down to, he was only on for a little bit, and this is kind of his little heat map that he showed. Pretty much within 20 minutes, he was able to get quite a bit of touches on the ball. He was quite active, very
very
much
active.
very active in the game. Like for such a short period of time, you kind of look at the 32 touches, the duels won, just the battles he was having, and then if you kind of look at the opposite, and it's not to be kind of again pounding down on Everton the whole time, but in comparison, someone that kind of had similar time, he had a lot less touches, less battles won. Like it just felt like when Everton wasn't winning the ball, like he'd get the ball distributed to him, he'd lose the ball, he wouldn't find himself in dangerous positions where Nem was throwing himself into dangerous positions. He was winning the battles. He was, the right side of the pitch looked very dangerous from this team, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of the complaint I think everyone has right now. Go to the chat and scroll up. I'm going to go up to the chat. There's this one here. There's this one. I don't know if you saw. So let me see if I can do. Yeah, that was the one the enclosure did earlier, which is pretty cool. Very cool, very cool. So it did work on that part. So another question here, Benfica. Do you guys think Benfica needs the winter transfer window for some players, specific positions? What would you say, Ethan? Is there anything particularly you'd like to see this team reinforced in? Like, is there a department you'd want more backups in, or
What
some
to
more?
bring in
Yeah,
someone?
yeah,
That's a tough question. That is a real tough question because I think we have a good spine to the squad. I think maybe disrupting that could affect a few things, but also could shaken up some positive things as well, if that makes sense. Yeah, that is a very good question. Yeah, that's a hard question to answer actually. I don't know, Mario. What do you think? What do you think?
You know what? I'm gonna agree with Nuno in the chat. Another eight
Another
box.
rate.
Yeah, another box to box type player is probably the only thing. I don't know. I kind of look at it. I'm a Veilot. I'm an old man. I love the old Benfica with the 4-4-2 kind of setup with the two center backs, the two full backs that kind of bomb up. You have an attacking mid, a defense mid. So we got that with João Mario and Weigl right now. We do the three center backs, and we kind of have this fun thing where our full backs are bombing up, right? But next to Chuck, I know we got Darwin. So at times, with the way Verissimo plays forward, it almost kind of does feel like a 4-4-2 kind of formation, but really it's I don't know. I just feel like this lineup with the three center backs, especially against Vizela, like they create lots of dangerous chances. The idea of the three center backs is that it allows these guys to move forward. But one thing I caught today, especially in the second half, was that you'd have the three center backs in the back. Then you have Weigl right by them. So it almost looked like there was four players in the back. And then you had these fullbacks and wingers right up there. You had either João Mario and Rafa and Darwin and Chuck and other guys like Ramos and stuff later on. And we were really struggling at distributing the ball forward. And this is maybe kind of getting into a hint of who I didn't like as much in terms of today. Like I know Everton was not a good performance in a sense, but for me, I felt Weigel's distribution today. He was all over the pitch. He was very high in accurate passes, but I kind of just felt a lot of the passes were kind of sideways back. Like he doesn't. I feel he misses those like great forward
Yeah,
passes. I don't know if I'm catching the words correctly, but I feel there's
I
moments
get
where
the picture. Yeah.
yeah, like I'll see Verissimo, he has the ball, pass up to Weigl, and all of our guys are darting forward, and there's this gap in the mid, and Weigel's decision will be to like pass back or pass sideways, not to get it like further up, and that's not it. That's not never been his play, but you do kind of miss kind of having a player that can shoot it up. And at times, João Mario is not like he's great at distributing the ball, but he's not that workhorse in the mid, right? Like to have a workhorse that can run back and forth. Remember when we had Renat Sanch and other guys like that? I feel like we missed that workhorse. Like Matic when he was a defensive mid was more of a beast running up and down as much. Also, like just the midfield's missing that at the moment. It's
Yeah.
it doesn't work as well.
Is that with those passes what you was on about with Weigl?
Yeah.
Again, it might be a confidence thing. It might not just be it might just be his game. Like I think it's his game. I think he's really good at getting the ball into tight areas and redistributing it out onto the other side of the pitch, something like that. But yeah, so as we said, I think we do need that kind of workhorse in the middle who can literally just go up and down, and just interrupt things, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But it's like going back to the transfer in the winter. It's like I'm really really like I'm looking at it now. I was like I'm really happy with our squad, and like yeah, there's things that we could have better, but I think in the position where we are with the Champions League and where we are in the league, is that I think with the squad we got now, I think it's quite solid and it's really really good. That's just my opinion, obviously,
yeah.
but I really like the look of it up to this stage.
We're having an interesting debate in the chat here about Nuno and an enclosure on Darwin, whether he's good or not. Same with Chuck in a sense. So for me, I'm actually liking Chuck. I think he's a really neat striker. I think when we first signed him and his early showings have been quite good. This is far from his finest game. This is probably one of his worst games, to be honest. So in fairness, I harp on strikers that don't take shots. I get really irritated. It's kind of like goalies that don't block a ball or save a ball or catch a ball. I get irritated with that because that's your job. And if you're a forward man and your job is to just get shots on net, shots on the target, get us a goal. Today he only got one shot off. It was off target. He didn't do much else. He put himself in interesting positions, but that's about it. Whereas when I kind of looked at Darwin, well, he lost the ball a bit. He did have a couple of decent opportunities, I felt, in front of that. But again, if you kind of go, I think between the two of them, it was they each got one shot off each, right? So you got to think you're two. Now, Darwin's kind of playing like almost like we're playing like a funny system where you have one striker, but Darwin's like a secondary striker at times. Rafa's a secondary striker. But if you look at the collective of the stats today, Benfica had 14 shots. Of the two quote unquote strikers, only two of them came from the strikers, right? The individual that kind of got more shots off, it was kind of like spread out between the team who was getting shots off on the game itself. Like Diogo himself, Gonzalez had a great opportunity, amazing shot in the first half. That was like
Yeah, it
35th.
was, wasn't it? Yeah.
What a volley! But I just across the board, you're just not seeing it. Like you're not seeing these guys. We had shots, but it isn't like you have a couple of guys putting those shots
Mm.
on target, right?
Yeah.
Nem had more shots than Darwin or Chuck, right? So, and so that's an issue, man. That's an issue where I think that it's
Yeah.
nice to see
I
shots.
think
Yeah,
Yeah, I think with Chuck up front is like the way I saw it today was a 3-4-3. So Darwin's kind of not on the left, but he's like a left forward, if that makes sense. He's
yeah,
on that left hand side. But with Chuck, do you have an influence on a game like today where that team is literally parking the bus? It is very very hard to get kind of grip of like a grip on the game, if that makes
mhm,
sense. Is because they're so far back. Yeah, assuming when the ball gets kind of fizzed into you and he's kind of playing as a lonely striker, he's kind of got kind of two good centre backs to kind of beat, and because they're playing so deep as well, it's really hard to get the ball to him to his feet, and that's his
yeah,
game, isn't it? He likes holding up people. He uses his physique to hold up the ball and sometimes maybe do a 1-2 then get him behind. But when they're playing that deep, you can't actually do that
yeah,
because it's their shape. They're nice and compact. So today I thought what we did or what we could have done a little bit better was playing it into the wide channels a lot more and pushing on Grimaldo and Diego Gonçalves up a bit more, if that makes sense, to proper
yeah,
exploit those those wide areas and using Yamachuk and Darwin's kind of physique because they're both tall people and just fizzing those balls into the cross just for them
yeah,
to win their headers. That's one thing I would say we might need to improve on for next time. But I wouldn't hold like, oh, because Darwin only had one shot and Chuck only had one shot in today's game. It's like a proper big issue because we have got to remember they parked the bus and it was really hard to break them down,
yeah.
sort of thing. So that's one thing I would say for that scenario.
Yeah, I do one thing I find with some teams when they park the bus, and I know it's very tough because you have so many bodies in front of the net. But a couple of the exciting moments, like obviously the Diogo shot came from the mid outside the box. It was a rocket, created danger. Tarat came in the second half. He had a shot from outside the box. It was saved. There's a couple of shots that came from some of the midfield outside the box
Mm.
that caused some panic. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is sometimes when you're not being able to break down the opposition, kind of what you're saying, either get those fullbacks, work with the wingers wide to try to pull these guys, separate them a bit, and get some of these lob these balls in properly. And I think today they weren't connecting well in the crosses. So obviously that wasn't helping. And B, if they're really parking the bus, just try to find that window and shoot the ball, because even if it deflects off a player, it
Mm.
creates some confusion.
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
I think if they should have maybe threw a few more bombs in there, um, it might not find the net. It might hit a defender, but the fact is that all of a sudden it hits a defender. People start scrambling. All of a sudden you lose the man your mark, and it was we were very slow. I found today at our decision making. Like it felt very. You can almost broadcast what we were about to do. We get the
Yeah,
ball. We
potentially.
were going wide, down the middle, whatever we were doing. We held on to it a few extra seconds longer. Darwin did that. Everton did that. Joe Mario did that. I felt like collectively the team was doing that quite a bit today, where they held the ball on
Mm.
a bit longer. And it was giving Vizela enough time to kind of go, okay, where's this guy? You're marking this guy. You're marking this guy. And because they're all kind of flooding the box, sometimes you just need to be it's easy to say because it's
Yeah,
really tough in real life, but
yeah,
just an
it's
extra,
very.
it's very tough. But that a team with this talent, just try, I think it'd be just a split second quicker at those passes and the
Yeah,
shots. Because that's the way you got to sometimes decimate these teams, right? And I'll say this much, man: if we had a little luck, if Diogo's goal went in the first half, it would have been like 30 some odd minutes. We go up 1-0. They're no longer parking the bus. Yes, they're going to sit back
yeah.
a bit, but it's the fact that they went into the game plan. They're able to hold on to it, right?
Hmm. And like, going to what you were just saying there, it's like you look at our goal today. Where did it come from? It came from a wide area. It came from
Yeah,
across, um, from the right hand side into Rafa, into his kind of path. What a cross by Pizzi. I'd like to speak about Pizzi later on in the show if that's all right. But
yeah, of course.
yeah, that's where our goal came from. Moving the ball quickly, getting it out wide, nice fizz across the box. Rafa gets onto the end of it. And the thing is, again, against a team like Vizela,
Yeah,
I'm so bad at this. It's embarrassing.
it's all good, man.
Yeah, when you're playing against teams like this, moving that ball quickly is so important, because by moving the ball quickly, it moves them about, and moving them about creates pockets of space. If you do that extra touch or that 2 seconds longer on the ball, or you don't pass that ball straight away, they can get organised, because that makes a difference when you're playing such a deep, low block like this. So moving that ball nice and quickly, literally one touch pass, yeah, breaking them down one by one, kind of isolating the players, moving them about, is that could have maybe gave us more opportunities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm
And
gonna. So we
yeah,
got Ricardo here saying nice compliment he just described. There's a town further away from Vizela if you kind of go north central called Cabeza Gorda. That's gonna be my head. If you compliment me, that's what happens to my head, right? So you can't do that too much, but much appreciated. Always love the new subs, and I brought up Pizzi's stats for you because I think you said you had some comments to make on Pizzi, so I figured I'd throw it up there for you.
yeah, I'm just looking at that. It's really small.
Well, no, he
um,
only came in for the last few seconds, right? Like only came in the last few minutes,
yeah.
but my God, Pizzi sometimes in recent times, it feels like
Oh,
he's had less of an impact as he used to have, but he was an impact player today. This looks like not
100%.
much, but what that play he made, and again, one shot off target when you got a guy like Chuck and Darwin that are in for 70 minutes and they each got one shot off each, right? This was kind of the theme of the
Yeah.
match was the wingers, the midfielders. They're the ones creating the opportunities. They're the ones throwing the balls in there, right?
Hmm.
Um, Trofense winning against Scovilla 3-0. I'll have to look that up. But but yeah, sorry, you were gonna say something about Pizzi. So sorry,
So
go
yeah,
back.
with Pizzi, as we know, like he's been kind of a great servant to the club. What, he's 32 years of age now.
Yeah,
He's been here since 2013. What's that? 9, 8 years. I think he's been a great servant to a club, and I think as football fans as a whole, and every, like, if somebody says that they're not like this, they're lying. I think football fans and people who are really passionate can jump on a player's back way too much, if that makes sense. So like after one game, people going, "Oh, he's bad," or "He's not good enough," things like that. But maybe it was just a bad game, or he's hit a bit of the bump in the road, if that makes sense. And with Pizzi, we've got to remember, like, he's been a great servant to the club. He shows like back obviously a couple of years back, he showed some real good quality moments. I remember when I first supported Benfica a couple of years back. I remember seeing Pizzi and his quality on the ball. I remember that vividly. And obviously, he's getting older. He's not going to be the same player as he once was. And I think, yeah, I don't think at the minute he should be starting, but coming on as an impact sub and showing little bits of talent, a little bit of quality, taking us back to, I don't know, like 2018-19 Pizzi, and whipping that ball into the box. That's what we would like to see, that difference, because that made the difference between getting 1 point and 3 points today. And we were speaking about this in the chat, weren't we, Mario?
Yeah,
And
there's a good question from the chat here in terms of George Juge and Pizzi, if there's beef between them. This is all okay. This is all rumor mill stuff that from friends of mine who have some loose information, but it's a little bit of back in time. But Pizzi was a tremendous phenom. He made the wisecrack MVP Pizzi, right? Because that guy was um, killing it under Ruvitaria. But when the time came where Ruvitaria was struggling, the stories were that Pizzi within the locker room was like one of the main leaders, and kind of when they wanted to tap on Ruvitaria, it was him and some of the other guys that decided to tap out on the club, which is not kosher, but it is what it is. Same thing with Bruno Lage. Bruno Lage came in, all of a sudden these guys started acting well again, MVP again. And when they started to tap for Bruno Lage, the story was that kind of Pizzi again was one of those guys that was part of supposedly that group of players that were making the decision of when to play and when not to play, or not give it 110%. And that was an issue in the locker room. And part of George Juge coming back is George Juge is a notorious um, madman in the locker room in a sense. Like he does not tolerate egos. Like he famously, when we signed Capdevila shortly after he won the World Cup, and here's like, you know, we got him on a free. It was supposed to be his last big transfer. He kind of, we're talking about when he came to us. He came to Benfica. He's like, I'm Capdevila. He thought he was a big shot, and just his ego seemed a little big. So George just benched him and never played him. He's like, I don't care if you
wow.
just won a World Cup. And that's what happened. And it was like, George Jesus, you had Nolito, which is the first rookie kid at the time I had bought, where I really liked Nolito. He was an up-and-coming kid. He was killing it. He actually tied Eusebiu's record, I think, for a rookie with the amount of goals he got in a row or something stupid for early on to the season. But he wasn't listening to George Jesus' instructions on the sideline. And he's like, I don't care how many goals you're scoring. He benched them. And that's it. And in Nolito's days. And I think with Pizzi, it seems like he's made positive comments about Pizzi. I don't think there's serious beef, but I think George Jesus has made it very clear. Here's what I want. Here, you weren't giving it to the team. I gave other guys the positions. Rafa's doing well, and it is what it is, right? But yeah, that was kind of This is kind of the holy trinity of It was the rumors were Pizzi, Almeida, Grimaldo, and supposedly Rafa. Rafa comes across more as like a quiet guy, like you'll go along with whatever is going. I think if Rafa was truly more of a guy that threw a hissy fit, it would not. But yeah, I think nowadays Pizzi's beyond his prime. I met Pizzi personally, love the guy. He's amazing with the fans. He was a great player for us. He still has talent, so I don't want to bash him in that sense. But like you said, age 32 as a winger, he was never the best player in the world. He did do good things, and with age and what all the other talent we have and all the other speed we have, it's getting tough to kind of justify, him being on the club unless he's happy with this off the bench, right, man? If he can come off
Yeah.
the bench, do this more, I love him. I love him for that. If he can do that, it's
Yeah.
amazing. But it is a tough period he's going through, and a year from now, I don't expect him to be any better, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
You get those tough times though. Like behind the scenes in the locker room. You get those
yeah,
tough times. You do have those conflicts. There are times where the players do really despise a manager, like his
yeah,
philosophy, the way he is, and that's just football at the end of the day. And players, it's not a very good thing, but players do kind of have that authority of where if they could sort of get together, they might want to try and get a manager out, sort of thing, and try and
yeah.
push it, sort of thing. And that happens, unfortunately. Like
It's kind of like what's his
it's
name,
just a part of it.
Ole on United this week, saying the players got his back, and they go and shit the bed against Liverpool today.
Yeah,
They really do got his back, eh? And you have the
yeah,
Liverpool fans chanting Ole's at the wheel. So, if you lose the locker room, it's critical. I think George Jesus does have a way though with players in a sense where he's gotten players to fight for him at various clubs. and so he has a talent with guys. Like he clearly the guys do like him, and I think the team, the locker room is united. And after the goal happens so quickly, that right away game's over. You have Rafa does a quick the flash interview, a quick little bit of questions, and they kind of go, oh, this and that. What do you think of the result? Yada yada yada. But he kind of went out of his way to say, the team worked really hard. It wasn't easy, but then he kind of made a comment, and now I'm like missing it the exact words, but roughly in Portuguese, trying to translate it to England, that all of a sudden we brought in a lot of guys off the bench, and maybe it might not look like they're performing to what the fans think they should perform to, but trust me, these guys are working hard, they're committed. And almost kind of, to me, it almost felt like Rafa was trying to indirectly promote Everton. Like and I do feel good hearing players stand up for each other. He didn't say Everton's name, but in the item, but almost kind of like the one guy that came on as a sub that I think everyone in the chat collectively agreed shit to bed as a sub was Everton. So if you're kind of defending a poor performance, I'd be probably the one guy. But I think it's nice, man. I think it's nice. I think that there is a camaraderie that's going on. I think Louison right now in the locker room, actually, as Rael is saying it, here we go. George is usually the guys like Louison, Otamendi control locker room. Yeah, I think Louison is taking a more active role in the locker room, and I think Otamendi also late into the second half. I think this was probably in the last, I'd like to say, right before the extra minutes kicked in. There's a moment where we had a free kick. And you can see Otamendi, like, he's the captain, but he's a vocal captain. He was earning that command and telling them, okay, guys, go. You could see he was trying to direct the guys. He was trying to tell them, okay, you're going to kick it over here. We're trying to get a header. It didn't materialize into anything, but there's a certain level of vocalness and passion. We know Louison has a shitload of passion, but Otamendi, you see the passion he's having. It's amazing. So I think that we're getting past kind of this idea that we had spoiled guys, right? So I know Pizzi, there's talks about being spoiled, things of sort, and I do agree. There's guys that were very spoiled in the club, and I think it was a very rotten attitude that was happening for the last couple of years that I think is getting weeded out, and either get with the program or don't get with the program. But either way, Pizzi did a great play. Rafa got the goal, so I'm happy with that, right? But yeah, so hopefully these guys, and going back to the winter transfer window, it wouldn't shock me if you see some movement. Like if Pizzi wants to play on a regular basis and he's not happy, I'm loan him out, sell him, whatever you got to do. Like it's not gonna. I think there's other talent we can bring in if we need to. But yeah, no, I'm still. We're top of the table, 24 points. It's tight. It's not early first half of the season. Like, or we're not quite at the middle point yet, but
about a third, isn't it?
Yeah, we're pretty much
1/3.
That's a good way. Around 1/3. The next big challenge now is we got to go to Guimarães away. It's a very, very tough team to face.
Wednesday.
Away. Yeah, it's Wednesday. It's
in
at Taça Liga.
Taça, yeah.
So this is an interesting opportunity where this is where everything could start. All these guys were kind of like maybe not as friendly today, but I expect Everton, I expect Pizzi, I expect some of these guys. Maybe Ram starts up front. You go to Murat, on the defensive side. I could see a wholesale rotation. Taça Liga is the lowest amount, and they say let's put the B team against Guimarães. I want to win. I be honest, man. I know people don't value the Taça as much, but I'll tell you this much: I want to win every single cup. So
yeah, same. Who doesn't?
Yeah. The first match is played already. Like they've Guimarães already got their win, right? So they got one win. If we don't beat Guimarães, it starts looking a little tough to actually advance out of this. It's a small little group, right? There's not many matches that kind of happen in these group stages for these small ones. So I still want to pull it off, and we should be able to pull it off. And Guimarães itself not doing stellar this year. They're seventh place. They kind of it's not a atypical standing for them out of the season, but if you look recently, they got a draw, and a loss. They're kind of not on the best streak at the moment, right? So if there's a time to face Guimarães, they don't have as much depth as we do if they're going to rotate. But the official next Liga NOS title match is back near Lisboa, Estoril, right? They're on the far edge there of Lisbon before we head off to Champions League. So it's a tight schedule, and it's only getting tighter afterwards with Braga and then Barcelona, Pacho Ferreira, things of sort, right? But yeah, man.
We love a tight schedule, more games.
Yeah, I gotta say I've had the pleasure of watching Benfica versus Guimarães live a few times, and each time it was for one was for the Tetra, them winning the cup there, and one was for the Taça final. So I have a fondness. I know Guimarães always gives us a fight, and we find a way to win. So that's why I really
Yeah.
enjoy watching these matches.
I feel like the Tassa for them is a great opportunity for these kind of like decent sides. Maybe not the top three, like obviously
Yeah.
us, Porto and Sporting, but for teams like them, it's a great opportunity for them to get some silverware in the season because I don't think they'll be challenging like proper up there unless
Yeah.
they have a proper season. But for them, they're going to be well up for that because they're thinking we could actually win this. You know what I mean? It's a cup game. Anything can happen
If
in a
they
cup
play
game.
their main 11, that's their regular week in week out 11, against a mix of B team and some players of ours, where maybe the chemistry is not going to be the finest. Everton's trying to find his form. Like I wouldn't be shocked, right?
Mm.
This guy Edwards, I actually
I
haven't.
love Edwards. I love him.
I followed him quite a bit. I haven't seen him this year much. I'm gonna be honest. Like I
I
don't know
know.
how he's doing this year, but he is. There's two players I'm shocked are still in these clubs. One is Edwards. I'm shocked he's at Guimarães still. I think he's had a killer run. And Ishagayo on Pastoreda. Ishagayo plays for the biased Team Canada, but literally the guy's been killing it on Team Canada. Like
Yeah.
he is like you have Jonathan Davies, you got David also, right? That plays up front,
Yeah, that's right.
and Ishagayo. Those are like the three main guys that when you see Team Canada and they're killing it domestically in North America, that you hear the name over and over and over again. And I'm surprised that they've managed to stay at Guimarães and Pastoreda. So curious to see. In terms of B team, what they say, we have 5 players that can go to A team next season. Vizela, Bernardo. Yeah, no, we do. I agree. We have talent. We have lots of talent. I actually get a kick out of these matches for just to kind of see, because to me, I look at these Taça Liga games as Jorge Jesus's plan B. Like I want to see Bernardo play. This kid Bernardo is good. This kid is interesting. I think he should have had maybe more minutes by now. I hope he starts. But if he for some reason sits on the bench and you got some other guys starting over him, it does send a bit of a message of who he thinks. Okay, I want to play these guys. I want these guys to get some minutes. I want to see if I can work on these guys. So it'll be interesting. Svilar one day might come up again. He's this guy that shoulda, woulda, coulda a bunch of times, and maybe he can finally do it. Keepers get better with age. He's a young keeper. He's been with us a long time, and as long as he continues to work at it, you never know. Maybe one day he'll be our main keeper for many years to come, right? So you just never know, right? But yeah, and he got tons of guys. Benfica has sometimes it's their worst issue actually is they have all these amazing talents in the B team, and it's just not being able to utilize them all, right? So let me switch it up. Should the match, player of the match, all that fun stuff. I'll quickly get this
for sure.
running. Yeah. All right, so what I'm supposed to do is do this magic of cinema and change the background. There we go. So I didn't do that.
There we go.
So right before we move to the match, just Fabs had a comment about Sevilla. That game, oh man, I didn't see. I remember the one at the Luge. I felt bad for Sevilla.
I was at that game.
You were at that game. Oof.
Yeah, I was.
I feel bad. Like what? I agree with Enclosure. Like that Penta year, the club was horrifically run. Brutal, absolutely brutal. Anyway, introduce the match, player of the match, and the actual play itself. If you guys have any in the chat that you want to shout out, feel free to throw them up there. Ethan, I'll let you go first, and you can go ahead and pick your top 3.
So man of the match I'm going to start off with. I think there were a lot of decent performances, not the best I've ever seen them, but there was a lot of decent performance like throughout the team. But for me, goals win games, and I love him already. I've got the new shirt for this season. Yeah, this one, because Benfica always Liga be winning, like Melo said. But for me, I've got Rafa on the back, and at the end of the day, he stuck that ball in the back of the net, what we couldn't do for 98 minutes of the game. And that's the difference between 1 point and 3 points, or come in second place or come in first place, because that those 2 points might be so important later on down the line. So for me, it's going to be Rafa. So yeah, that's my player of the match for sure, because he was the game changer.
Yeah.
My chorizo of the match, it's real hard, real hard. Obviously, I could say Everton when he came on didn't really have much of an impact on the game, but he only had like 20, 25 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a bit harsh. So it's a tough one, because they were a good defensive side, very regimental, very organised, very well drilled. But for me, this is real hard. This is really hard. But uh, maybe Grimaldo is like, I know he came off
Yeah.
for Everton, believe it or not, but when we're playing against such a defensive side like that, I would love to see my fullbacks get nice and high and wide. I kind of like a second winger, create 2 versus 1 on the outside and whip the ball in. Usually he's really good at that today. Usually, but today he wasn't really in that sort of position. If that makes sense, like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what that's what
and
I think
there was
anyway.
a part in the first half where between Grimaldo and Rafa, there was like a play building, and it just looked like Grimaldo wasn't like he just tuned out for a second. Like Rafa
Mm.
pulled the ball forward and Grimaldo to make the run, right? So yeah, no, he was definitely that's not that bad show. What would you say your play or moment of the match would be?
Um, Player of the match. um, it's really hard because there wasn't many like outstanding, like breathtaking moments in our game, if that makes sense. Like we had good spells of where we had the ball, we kept it, but we didn't break them down enough. And I know they were real far back in that low block, but we didn't. We were knocking on the door, but we need to be slamming on that door, not just knocking it. Like we were like slightly knocking it, like when you were like a little kid, when you're like 4, when you've knocked the ball over to your neighbour's garden, and you're really shy to like knock on the door. That's
Yeah,
what we were like today. We were like slightly
a
knocking.
little
Like
timid.
sometimes,
Yeah,
yeah, we've got to just go up to that door and bang it and say, "Give us our ball back." Like, you know what I'm saying? Um, so for me, because it's the game changer, it's the 3 points. It's got to be the goal, because it's the only time we actually broke them down and scored. Because
yeah.
that was literally like, I wouldn't say our best player of the game, but it was definitely up there with the best players in the game. So for me, finally.
Oh, I just lost Ethan. He just dropped out. So he'll kick back on 2 seconds. I just want to say hi to Luca. He's a really nice guy. I've had a pleasure talking to him before. If you're an Arsenal fan, he runs a really good show. So that was the goal for Ethan was his play of the match as he gets a.
Sorry,
No,
I
it's
don't
all
know
good,
what
man. All
I
good.
don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
Um,
it's all good. Yeah,
so yeah, for me, um, we exploited that kind of that wide area for Piddy to kind of get into that sort of pocket. Nice whip across the box for Rafa to get into. It's got to be the player of the match, because that's the difference between winning and drawing. So yeah,
yeah.
that's mine.
So, yeah, no, they're good. They're good, man. They're good. And I kind of my battle was between. So I'll start my Charisse the match. I'm gonna kind of what it was tough because there's actually quite a bit of Charisse moments throughout the game from various
Mm.
players. Like it isn't like these guys. We had a starting 11 that were studs in a sense, and we can't find one bad player. It's actually the opposite where there's a few less than desirable performances. But I'm going to shoot it to Everton in a sense. The guy, it kind of feels like the clock is ticking on him, and I think he still has till the end of the season to prove himself, and he can be an amazing talent, and I haven't lost faith in him in a sense, but it's these he's lost his starting position, and coming on as a sub, he's not creating the inspiration to see him again. You know what I mean? So so I'm going to give him the Choris in a sense. The player of the match for me, I'm going to give it to Rafa because he's like always hustling and running, and the guy got us the winner. He got us the offside goal, which was offside. Like he was the one guy that consistently looked.
Like a
Um,
threat, like a threat.
yeah, he constantly looked like a threat. He constantly like he was going to break through. He was constantly in it. I do feel, he deserved it. In terms of play of the match, the play of the match is going to go to that situation in the first half with Odie. Almost seems like it's not really like a beautiful play. It's the fact that Odie did a knucklehead move, passed the ball to the Vizela player, one-on-one and did a beautiful save. That to me, if
Mm.
we had conceded the way we went into this game, the way we looked tired, after what happened with Bayern Munich, this team was not having the feel good butterflies. Everyone's kind of celebrating a little bit of pins on needles, man. They're not feeling good. They're feeling antsy and they're making mistakes. And Odie made a mistake, but man, did he recover from that mistake? And if he didn't, I don't know. Maybe these guys would have held on even more. Like we maybe would have started panicking, right? And these guys are breaking away, and that's not the only save he had. He also had some other situations. So I think he, give him a shot on that sense, right?
Mm.
And then the last question I guess we will throw up is where in the world is Carmen Sandiego, or as they call him, Gilberto nowadays? Gilberto, from my understanding, I got no clue where he is. He's on the bench, and I think he didn't get any more minutes. And I think Diogo Gonzalez is just a better player. I think that's why we're seeing more of him. I think George Jesus does like him. It won't shock me to not see him again shortly, and probably we'll see him midweek against Vitória Guimarães, right?
100%.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Any other thoughts you had, Ethan, at all, or anything else you want to add?
Yeah and no. Like, obviously not the best game we've played all season, but at the end of the day, when the going gets tough, it's important that you like kind of dig deep, work hard, and get those 3 points. And that's what we've done today. Job done. Move on to midweek in the Tassa, and then move on to next week in the league against. What is it with these Portuguese words? Every time I know I support a Portuguese team, yeah, but every time I come on here, it's always a word that I can't say. It's like I could be on any other show and I go, oh, I can say that, but whenever I'm on here, I look at that and I go, I can never say it. Estoril,
Estoril, yeah,
Estoril.
Yeah.
It's like in English, you will say that as like Estrelli, like or
No,
Estrelli or Estrelli.
Yeah, if you read it as an Englishman, it's gonna be like butchered galore. Yeah, no, it's funny because obviously here in Canada, like there'll be Portuguese names, Portuguese phrases, and I'll have Canadian buddies. It's English, right? So they'll say it. I'm like, oh yeah, no, you just butchered that one. That's not.
Honestly, I kid you not. Whenever I'm not on the show, I can say that like, oh, easy, like, but whenever I come on here, it's always a word that I cannot say or a player I cannot say. It's literally a reoccurring theme what keeps on happening. It's really annoying me.
Look at Boris funny. That's a funny way of kind of sounding surreal. Estoril. I sound the even more surreal. Yeah.
Estoril. I don't know.
Nice little stadium. They have a nice little stadium. It kind of collapsed with a bunch of fans in it not too long ago. No one got hurt, but yeah.
Yeah, I like that ground.
But they're a nice little ground. They're a nice little part of just
I consider them
part of yeah, they're close to the beach. I consider it part of Lisbon, but people in their districts and things of sort, it's a little bit more on the beach part, right? Near that area. But it's a really very nice area. A club that historically has spent a lot of times in the first division. They kind of bounce in and out. It'll be quite interesting. The other bit of like exciting news here, which I'll throw up on the screen here. So, it's been an ongoing item. So everyone knows that Ethan is a newer individual on Twitter. He doesn't have much Twitter.
Oh, don't even.
So look at watch this. I'm getting a lot of like. I just gotta go through my notifications. I'm going through my notifications while I'm saying, there he is. Look at this guy. This guy followed me. He did it. He followed Luis. We're good, man.
You've called me out here. Fair play.
I had to have some fun. The poor guy. Now, give him a follow. He's new, man. He just even says new account. Like Twitter puts a warning here saying this guy's new. So we've been having fun with him more from a banter standpoint. But if you follow him, he doesn't follow you back. It's because he's learning. But look, I got the follows views, right? So I feel good.
That's a great profile pic, isn't it?
I like it. Look at this guy. This guy's killing it. He's about to he was about to score his hat trick again.
No, that was the FA Cup. That was the
FA Cup match.
Yeah, there was like 2,500 people there, something like that against Gloucester. It was amazing day. Unfortunately, we lost, but I had a good game. It was a close game considering they're a professional side as well, and we're not. So yeah, it was a real good day out. But yeah, sorry, I went on a bit there. But yeah, that Twitter
find
thing.
Something on our feed. I thought Luis put it up. Now I could be mistaken, but we talked about a contest. I thought it was up. It's not up. We'll pull the poll up there. But the contest we're talking about is if Benfica qualifies for the knockouts of the Champions League, we're gonna buy someone a jersey. You can pick the home or the away, right? And we'll get it sent out to you. But the way we're running the contest is Luis is running this the thing behind it. Basically, if you give it a like, a follow, follow the channel. There's a post. He did a post. I saw so he hasn't done
No,
the
he
post.
didn't. He didn't
He
because
hasn't
of
done the
course I
post. Okay,
do.
I'm just a senior citizen. Like Luis tells me things, and I assume things happen, and I don't actually look. Like here's Mello. I think Mello's doing something with this from October 16th. So clearly he's busy right now.
Yeah.
So anyways, keep an eye out. We're gonna post it on the channel. I just gotta double check. I thought it was already posted, but we'll have a pin. We'll pin it on there. It's gonna be one of these. If you retweet, you like, and you give us some love, make sure you follow the channel. All the fun jazz. We got a lot of time, but it's gonna be sometime in December when we do the
Yeah.
poll of the sort.
He
But
definitely hasn't posted it yet because of course I do the Instagram side
yeah,
of the channel, and he hasn't asked me to put it on there yet. Like usually he's like messaging me saying, "Oh, can you put this on?" or
yeah.
"Can you notify about this?" But he hasn't told me to do that. I've seen it, but he hasn't told me
Yeah,
to
I
put it
saw
on.
he has like he found some company that does a
It's like
what's
a
it called
poll.
that
It's
does a
like a
poll thingy that does it
yeah.
whatever it is. He was showing me, so I thought that's why I thought it was live because he sent me a video. I was like, oh, that looks cool. But yeah, outside of that, on the website, he's posting these hilarious career modes on FIFA. Like for those who don't know, Luigi is like legitimately good on FIFA. Like the guy I like to gas him
He
up a
is.
bit and make fun of him when he loses the game, but like it's a rarity. I see this guy lose a game. He tends to just be nuts, and he's had a few times where he hits like top ranking up there on these stupid things. Myself, I'm an old man. I back in when you're talking about FIFA '98, I used to kick ass. But
I wasn't even born.
but it's been going down for me, man. It's been going down for me in terms of nowadays. I'm like, I play casual career mode. I if I venture online, it's when I'm like feeling very sadistic and I'm glutton for punishment because it'll be the rarity. Like Luigi will laugh at me because it's like the polar opposite. We talk and it'll be like him. Oh, I got like a 15, 20 game winning streak. I'm like, yo, buddy, I just played 10 games. I got to win. Woo! It's like I'm the total opposite of him. But I love watching him because he does like just these crazy little flicks with the ball on a video game that I myself is press the X button to pass, press the O button to
Yeah.
shoot, and try again.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But yeah, man, a live show we should look at it. Alex played around with the idea of doing live
Yeah.
during the Barca.
We did a
Um,
poll. We did a poll on Instagram, and like I think it was like 92% people said they want those like watch along things,
you want to
and
watch
that
along? Okay,
yeah,
people want to
like
watch along.
what Alex did the other
Yeah,
day, and they're massive in the UK. It's like it's really easy to see like Mark Goldbridge with
yeah.
Man United. He does like the United stand. It's like a watch along. Yeah, you can't see what's going on, but his reactions are priceless. Arsenal TV do it as well.
Arsenal's crazy. I've seen that.
Yeah,
Adrian does
maybe
them.
yeah.
Or like Adrian on Rabona. I've watched his, and he kicks ass. Them. I have fun. I have fun watching it. I find. I think I've done one before with someone else, and literally the problem is I watch the match and I forget there's a camera. Like most of
Yeah.
the watch along is just this is me just watching. Like I'm just not. I'm like, and every time I'm like, fuck yeah, you guys are
I
you're here.
definitely
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
do one. I
yeah. So
definitely want to do one.
maybe yeah, we'll try. We'll try. So what is it? Barcelona is a midweek game, obviously with the time zone difference.
Yeah.
But let's say if I try to do it, I mean I could try where I bugger off early or something like that from the office, and that is November 23rd, which is far. Actually, you know what?
What's that?
I was booking time off. I mean, you know what? Barcelona, I might do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's say I'm like 61% sure it might happen. Which it's a lot, man. If you're betting 61% chance, good odds, man.
Is like
I'm not betting.
midweek for me is like a definitely no go. Saturdays possibly, but I'm also playing then as well. That buying game possibility. Sunday's a very, very good day. Literally, it's like my only rest day. Like I can actually have a lie in instead of going to the gym at like 6 o'clock in the morning. It's an absolute. It's good. It's good, but it gets very tiring. But yeah, I'm up for doing it. I think it's going to be kind of a game changer, and especially when Melo did it, it was actually really fun to watch because I watched like the whole 90 minutes.
Yeah. When Melo did his, it was during a weekday. Yeah, it was the Tassa game.
Yeah.
But he kind of went last second because we couldn't do a game live afterwards. We couldn't do a show live. But I messaged him like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then he didn't get back to me. And then like a bit partway through the game, I look at my phone. I'm like, oh yeah, he did go live. And I'm like, forget it. I'm like, you have fun. I do honestly like when the game's about to start, I do have a bit of a mental lapse where all of a sudden it's like that's all that's happening, and I lose my focus. And then comically enough, because I'm an old man on the weekends, I actually will take like a 10-minute nap at halftime. Because sometimes it's kind of like for my time it's like 3 o'clock ish when the games are playing. So or like 2 o'clock, I'll have like a nice heavy because it's the weekends. I'll have a nice heavy lunch with a few drinks. So today I had a bunch of wine. Had a bunch of
Yeah.
wine. We made a nice lasagna. We ate that right. The game was at 1 o'clock my time, so we had it for lunch. Had a bunch of wine. I was feeling good, and like literally halftime hit, and I was just sitting on the couch like this. And it starts second half, and I wake up, so I'm good to go. So for a watch along, that could be quite amusing if people got to see me just like doze off in the halftime mark. But I'll
Yeah,
probably
for
have a bit
sure.
more energy. But
Yeah.
yeah, critical game. I think I'm not trying to say Benfica's not going to win against Barcelona, but let's not hold our breath here and really playing at Barcelona. Barcelona just lost again today against Real Madrid. A tight game, 2-1, two game. I didn't see the actual match, but
I
a
don't either.
2-1 result is
It's
still
not the same. It's not the same without Messi or Ronaldo, is it?
Oh no, it's kind of lost its flair. But Barcelona's now sitting ninth, right? You have a
Oof.
situation that's crazy in La Liga, and it's they still it's right now Atletico Madrid I think is tied at the moment. And it's tough, man. It's these guys will be in a dicey situation. By the time they face us, they're not top four. You're getting closer and closer to halfway mark of the season. It does get tough. Like they're sitting with 15 points, and fourth place right now has 18 points, which is Atletico Madrid. If they somehow pull off the win, they'll have 20 points. So um, there's a gap. There's a gap they got to close, and it seems like the gap is not narrowing for them, right? So there's an opportunity where maybe Barcelona, knowing that there's low chances they're going to win the Champions League, how critical just being in the group stage is from a financial standpoint. That not saying they take their foot off the gas, like they want to advance, like they badly need the money,
Yeah, they do.
but it's one of these catch-22s. So it's hopefully we can get the result. It'd be amazing to get a win away. That would just seal the deal. Like if we get the win away, that's it. We're going through, and we're gonna have to
Yeah.
go buy a jersey for someone out there. I look forward to it. It'll be fun, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it will. Before we go, you know
Yeah.
Estoril?
Estoril? Yeah.
Estoril. How do you say their second name? It's like Estoril
Oh,
Praia?
Estoril de Praia.
That means beach, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you got it. Look at this guy.
Yeah,
He's learning
man.
the language. I love it. Estoril de
Honestly,
Praia. Yeah.
after my 3 years of uni is done because I've only literally just started. I've done college, doesn't exist in America, but
Yeah.
assuming I finish my university, what is college to you guys? I'm gonna pay for tuition for like lessons to speak Portuguese, so I can rock up into Lisbon and go this, that, and the other, and order food and things like that. I know basics, but I'm not confident enough. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's my life goal by the time I'm 21.
Yeah, the E is Boris is right. So like I say, Estoril, but it's almost like it's more silent to E, right? So it's Estoril.
Estoril.
You're saying you're doing the English because you're right? You're doing the like if I go boy, but it's Estoril. Like it's like a weird like I slightly pronounce it, and I'm probably already overemphasizing it as is. But it's almost like forget the even exists. Estoril. It's like you lead into the S right away. Go to the S. Go right for the S. You gotta go right for the S. Just forget the E exists. Go
Stril.
Yeah. Stril.
Stril.
There you go. Good enough.
Brilliant.
You're getting better, man. You're getting better. Wait till we get to, like, let's see what we got in the docket that could be like Famalicão sometimes is tough. I know I sometimes was butchering that one at times. Oroca.
Don't ask me to do. I'm not going to say what team because I know what my big weakness is, and I really don't like saying.
Or Boavista or
no, I know Portland because obviously I've been there.
Pastreda?
No, it's not
no. What else is there? What else is there? I'm screwing with you now, but Vitória Guimarães. Guimarães is
There we go. I
cannot
say that. I cannot say that for the rest of my life.
Moreirense. I find they have like the elongated.
Wait. Morenchal. No, I was on about Victoria.
Yeah.
Guimarães.
Guimarães. Yeah.
Guimarães. You guys need to give me lessons, man.
But you'll get it, buddy. You'll get it, right? It's one of these things where it's funny. I gotta say one thing I love about this club is that it is an international club. I was born in Portugal, but I've had the pleasure of meeting guys in Canada that are Canadians that follow Benfica. They don't have Portuguese parents. They are.
Is that me? I have no Portuguese, nothing, literally. No connection. Like I never even went to Portugal before. So obviously I know Portugal because of Ronaldo, obviously, but never that much about it until I went there on a vacation or holiday.
And so you kind of picked up that way.
And then when I saw Benfica live on like the TV, then I think instantly like had that connection with the club. But
So what we're
I
gonna
just
do
don't
is
know
we're
how
gonna
to
get
say it.
Boris as your tutor because this guy's killing like Guimarães.
Guimarães. Guimarães.
Guimarães. Yeah,
Guimarães.
I love it.
Like
But
it.
the
Like that. Love that.
but yeah, no, it's we've had Pete Pizza Englishman that's no connection. He's a huge Benfica. He's actually a socio now. He does a red pass, all
Mm.
this stuff. He's a Spurs fan, but
I'm a socio now. I think that's
which
how
is
you say it.
awesome, sick,
It's like
nice.
it's a member. It's a member to like me. It's like you're a member of a club, not a associate socio.
Socio, yeah. No, but it's
Socio.
kind of neat. So you are a socio. Out of curiosity, did you get yours? So you got yours recently, or when did you get yours?
So when I was like 15, my mum got it,
Yeah.
and then my aunt got it, and um
Well, 6
then
years.
I
You've
got it
had it for
this
a
year.
while. Okay, so you've had it for a
Yeah,
while.
but
Okay.
it wasn't me, and I always get it in the post, like
Yeah.
about like the voting and
The
stuff.
content is the way. Yeah.
Oh my days, it's always in Portuguese, and I keep emailing them saying, please, please just send it in English because I have no idea what you're saying. Never, and they never send it in English. It's always in
The
Portuguese.
website, I gotta say that just a few years ago, the website was it's a good website, but all in Portuguese. But the website in recent years, like when you go to slv.pt and you click the
Mm,
English button now,
love that.
it's actually looking like a legitimate, really good website. But there's
Yeah,
like,
it
I
is.
swear, 6 years ago, you click English and it was like a very downgraded version of the primary site.
I think I remember that. I think that's when I like was first like when I first started to get into Benfica. That was it.
Yeah.
Like there was no like English option, but then I got the app and things like that, and then things I started to discover things. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
they've gotten way better, and it's part of the way the club is growing, and I hope they continue to take advantage of it because there's just like if Portuguese. I don't know if you know this, Ethan, but there are an equal number of Portuguese citizens that actually live outside of Portugal that live in the country. So there's around 11 million Portuguese people in the country. There's about 11 million Portuguese citizens outside the country.
mm,
So I'm one of those. My parents think this sort, and there's tons of them here where I live. Tons of them in the U.S., tons in England and France and other parts of the world. I got cousins in Switzerland, all over the place, right?
yeah,
And the thing is, then they have their kids, and then they get married to other families, and some of them are not. You mix it up, and find people that you love, things of the sort. But eventually, what ends up happening is like I got on the wife's side, there are cousins where the parents were Benfiquistas, and the cousins like Benfica, like that's their team, but they don't speak too much Portuguese. They don't follow it too much, and so I really think that there's still this golden opportunity where if the club continues to kind of expand the English broadcast side of it, they can really they can basically. I love Boris here. Homework: you must learn to pronounce
I've
correctly
just seen that.
all the teams in the Liga Naj. I'll be the cop. We'll kind of do tiers. We're gonna start doing like awards. We'll get the Liga Naj one. Then we'll
Yeah,
get the Segunda. You gotta get down to the second division because once you go down the leagues, like there are some names that are like Torines and Trofense and Vilfranca de Shira. You know what I mean? Like you saw Vilfranquez is what their club is.
mm.
That are really gonna start really testing the league. I'm just looking at my
That's
screen.
fine.
Like,
That's fine.
let's
We'll
get,
do one league at a time. Honestly,
we'll
every
do
time
it.
I
We
come
gotta go
on,
down.
so
Yeah.
next time I come on, I've got to know all the Liga Portugal now. Um, then I thought it was like Liga 2. I thought they called it like the second division. Liga Pro 2, something like that, or Pro Liga 2, something like that.
Yeah, let me actually see what the official because the honest truth is that the sponsorships are an actual train wreck for the second division,
Stuff.
and they're always actually switching. So Liga Portugal 2, I think is
Yeah.
exactly what it's called right now. It is actually Liga Portugal 2, SABSEG for sponsorship. Who the heck is that? There is something. It used to
Mm.
be something else. There's like one where it's like an orange drink for a while. They've really rotated a bit, but
There's
it's
only
fun, man.
six.
I
There's
tell
only
you, man.
six levels of like the non like. You know, in every league you have like a pyramid.
Yeah,
They only have six. What is fascinating because in the UK there are loads. So I'm in tier 9, and you might think like, oh, that's rubbish. Like I'm
yeah,
nine leagues off the Premier League, but you don't understand how good you have to be to even play at that level. It's like I remember like because I'm obviously only 18. I remember stepping into that league. I was thinking, oh, it'll be fine. I'm playing in non-league, but then I realized that you have to have something about you. You have to be good to play at that level. It's crazy, like how good you have to be to even make it at a certain level, if that makes sense. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
play against players and I go, wow, you're a good player, and they're only at the same level as mine. If that makes sense, it's
Yeah, no, it
baffling.
is very no, it is very crazy, and I find that's the one thing I love about. And we're getting sidetracked here, but I love about sport where I think they miss in North America is they have these professional sports leagues, which are fun, man. I love basketball, I like hockey, I like these, I like these other sports we have here. But it's predominantly you have that, then you'll have like a another league, which is usually like let's say the AHL for hockey, which will be like a for the younger guys, or they'll have like one that's mainly for rookies and one maybe that's for older guys that maybe have stepped off, right? That maybe one day might find their way back in, but they've really fallen off. But there's no promotion or relegation. It's really like closed into the
That's
system.
weird. That's weird.
Let's hopefully Soyuz doesn't get promoted. Hopefully Soyuz doesn't win.
Yeah.
One other thing you'll have fun with the language, man. If the more you if you decide to really go down the language, I do find the towns are absolutely hilarious. Like the Cabeza Gorda, like really means fat head. There's a
Really?
town called Cabeza Gorda, like Fathead Town. Fish is one in one of the Azores Islands, which is fish butt.
Fish
They
butt.
have like they have some hilarious like this, some of them are like it's a circus. I have a really there you go, Boris. I love this guy, Soish. That's a good way of
Choice.
Soish. Then we got Miguel from South Africa. Quite a few guys from South Africa. That's another one where there's tons of Portuguese people in South Africa. Some of them, like my dad's from Angola, so there's some that kind of went to South Africa and some of them went elsewhere. But man, I'll go on. You get me talking about like Portuguese history and the
yeah. It's like, I love it. Literally, like ever since getting involved with Benfica, like I've been fascinated with Portugal as a whole. Like its economics, its geography, everything about it. It's football, and like, I've even mapped out on my phone like a road trip that I'm gonna do like round Portugal, if that makes sense. And I've got like little pinpoints of where I want to go and what looks really good. And there's loads of football teams now. I think all the teams in there, like in the first division, are in there. That every single one I go to visit all of them. So that's something I'll be doing when I get older, off season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Still
my
can't
collection.
drive,
Like
but
I'll just do a little thing. It's a house a mess here, so everyone forgive. But pretty much the collection here. Yeah, the kids were the various
yeah, I
clubs
love that.
visit. Things of the sort. Like it kind of wraps around, it kind of goes around the top. Things of sort, the various matches. But it is a thing me and the missus do when we get a chance to go back to the old country. We do a map. It's so easy to go around, and it's I love stopping at these teams. I love the community.
Yeah, same.
It's the same in England in a sense. You go to like these regional clubs, they're part of the fabric of the community, right? It's very cool. And it's a challenge, man, because there's so many spots I want to go to Europe in. Like I want, like England's a bucket list. Like,
Have you never been?
Never been.
Get yourself down to Gloucester, honestly.
I keep well. You guys do the cheese race. You guys do the thing.
Yeah.
I read up on that one, which is pretty cool. You guys do the cheese one, which is wild. And but my challenge I always have is anytime I've gone to go to Europe, it's that all of a sudden Portugal calls. But yeah, completely sidetracked. Let's throw one more question on here. Reckon Benfica season for rainy season should only be referred to tail that you have. So that is. I could see that happening. As long as that ending half part is 3 points, that's all I care, man. That is all I care about. But yeah, we'll keep going on forever. Let's call it a night. Ethan, I really appreciate you being on as always, man.
I'm on 1%. Thank you. I always enjoy coming on. I love it. Thank you. But I'm on 1%. Like you'll go into slowly but surely in my ears. You're crackling up and everything.
Miguel's getting the pleasure of going back to Portugal after 30 years. That is, I joke with the missus. That's a retirement plan for us. Is that to go there, relax. It'd be nice. It's a beautiful. I actually thought about it, but got young kids and I got a little business and things on the side that I've been growing. So I gotta put the family first, do the right thing. But man, it's a beautiful, beautiful one. But man, you guys have a great evening. Thank you again for all the questions, all
thanks
the
coming.
interactions.
Love it.
You guys were amazing. We'll get Ethan back on as always, man. He's always part of the chat just in between him doing all the games he's doing, things of sort, but he does amazing work on Instagram. He's a huge part of the team for us.
Yeah, thank you.
Joe, Luis, Mello, even Nina.
Everyone, man. It's all a community. It's all a community.
Exactly. All right, guys.
Love that.
You guys, great night. Peace.
See you later.